Welcome back to Walking Solo. My name is Adam Smith, and inside this game unboxing video, I'm excited to be showing you Arkeis. This comes from Ankama. Looking forward to showing you all the components that come inside this box. This is the Kickstarter edition, and that edition does come with a slip cover on the outside, which I've already removed. So here you can see the game box. There's artwork on all sides. There's nothing on the back of the box to read or check out in terms of components that are listed out or anything about gameplay. So we're going to go ahead right now, dive right into the unboxing, taking off the lid and seeing what we run into as we dig through this tomb. The first thing we find when we open up the box is a letter to explorers or backers of this particular game. You'll see at the very bottom as well an important message as they prepared the package of each of these games, and they want to ensure that any that are incomplete or damaged are taken care of. So there's support steps there on the bottom portion of the page. Let's move on. Flipping the page over, we're going to find a list out of all the Kickstarter exclusive components that come inside this box. There's tokens, there's profiles, miniatures, episodes to play, cards to add in, a number of things all listed out right here. We then run into the rulebook itself, and underneath of this rulebook, you'll also see another booklet, or two. There is the camp archives as well as the expedition logbook. Inside the rulebook, as you'd expect, a table of contents on the left-hand side here, breaking out everything inside of it. We have general principles playing the campaign, and the campaign is actually the preferred way to enjoy the game based on the rulebook and what the designers were looking to accomplish in this game. You can absolutely play games one shot if you wish, creating your own dungeons and things like that, but you want to play this and experience it as a campaign, as it has more to offer in that realm, going from scenario or adventure to adventure. You have choosing your characters, explorer profiles, you have backpacks as well, which are the boxes that the explorers will be placing things they find inside of. Very, very cool. You have your first session book here. This session is going to take you right into the rules and learning experience without having to read the entirety of this rule book. You can just jump right into your first session and start playing and learn as you go. As you'd expect with any board game, you have a full list out of all your components to ensure you have everything here. You can expect miniatures, cards, tiles, all kinds of different things inside this box. We're going to see a lot of this up close very soon. At this point, we get to see how the rulebook is laid out and formatted. You'll also see things highlighted that are really important to note on illustrations throughout this rulebook. We have the logbook being talked about here and setting up episodes. Now, as we hit page 8 and 9 of the rulebook, you'll begin to notice something, and that is we're halfway through it already. This is not a rules-heavy game. It actually falls under the average of typical weight for board games in the adventure and dungeon crawl space. So you'll be able to get this thing to the table much quicker, especially with the fact you can learn the game by playing it versus having to read the entire rulebook. You simply can come back and reference the rulebook as you begin to play through your very first adventure. Within the rulebook, there is also a number of examples as you go along, making sure you understand what you're reading. At this point, we're getting into the adversaries and the explorers themselves, finding out more about the abilities of the different individuals we have to use throughout the campaign. And as you'd expect from an adventure game, things can go south on you in the form of injuries, trauma being experienced, and poison. As you can see on the left-hand side here, we also have inspection dice and logging those results on the right-hand side. So some interesting things to try and accomplish with the dice as you move through the campaign. And that really does it for the rulebook. You can see the epilogues here on the left-hand side. You also have back at the camp. So basically back at the camp being the place you're going to go at the very end of one of your episodes or one of your adventures you're going on. This is going to allow you to do things like heal your injuries, sell your items. You'll be able to get upgrades. You can use XP. You can use reroll tokens. And even more importantly, you can buy camp upgrades. A pretty cool option. Next up, we have the Expedition Logbook, and inside of this book, as you'd expect, a place for the players' names as well as the explorer they're controlling to be labeled out. And as you continue in, you get into the introduction. You also start getting into letters and playing of the game in the bottom there. And as you continue through this, you're going to see a bunch of different setups and different things to accomplish as you move through the campaign. This will be referenced throughout it. And I'm not going to show you every single page as I mentioned, but you can see quite a bit of different things to find inside this. Next up, we have the Camp Archives. This one is filled with a number of different stickers as you progress through the campaign. You'll be using different stickers depending on whether you have positive or negative outcomes, for instance, or different situations might occur, and you'll have different areas to pull these stickers off and stick them in different locations as you go through your campaign. Next on the very top of the box was Punchboards. I'll show you the front and back of all of these. The final punch board here looking very bright. Lots of good things to find, I would imagine. We're going to go ahead and flip this one over, see if there's any differences on the back side. Back inside the game box, I've taken off the clear tray, which kept everything in place here. We have character profile boards, the dashboards you'll be using for each of the different characters. Underneath of this, you have the different backpacks for the explorers. There are 6 of them here, it appears, unless I am mistaken. And then you've also got a couple cards here, as well as something that tells you not to look at it, so I'm not going to do that. You've got some cards here sealed up. You also have some dice in the corner, and there's more cards underneath as well. Here's an up-close look at the Explorer dashboards. You're going to see a little bit about the character itself here, the ability and the turn structure below, obviously health to the center here, and different major things you'll be doing during gameplay. Now, if I flip this over to the opposite side, you're going to see something different on the back. So each one of these can be flipped over for something completely different on the opposite side. So I'm just going to show you each one of those. Here's an up-close look at that envelope that told us to stop and not open it, not shuffle it, basically not interact with this thing whatsoever until told to do so. As you can see, there will be things inside this game that are surprises you're going to run into as you adventure through the campaign. Here's a look at the dice from the game. The dice comes with 5 white dice, 5 black dice of varying icons. We now continue on through the box to the next tray. I've already taken off the clear cover from the top. You'll see episodes here all broken out from 0 to 2, and then underneath more episodes as well. These come in these small containers for each of the episodes with unique components inside of each of them for that episode. These right here, if I'm not mistaken, will go in the doorways and represent doors and also have tokens inside the top of them. I'm not 100% certain how exactly that works just yet, but it might indicate something going on in a specific room, or maybe what we'll run into as you go through gameplay. These are slotted in here. We also have a couple miniatures down here. Uncertain off the top of my head whether these are hero miniatures, but it wouldn't surprise me. For those wanting an up-close shot, here you go. I'll show you the other one in just a moment. The sculpts on these look pretty cool. The next tray inside the box after taking the cover off is a number of miniatures. I'm going to go through each of the unique sculpts right now. The next layer inside the box has 4 individual trays. Now they're housed inside of the trays you're going to actually use as you build out your adventures and go through the different tombs. But I will show you these different miniatures, and I definitely have been corrected, as the 2 I originally saw earlier for miniatures, which were gray, I thought might have been heroes. No, these are definitely the heroes right here, the 5 explorers for the campaign. And then we have some of the more large scale miniatures, although the ones we just saw moments ago are pretty big. We got some other big ones down here at the bottom, as well as what looks to be some cards. As we reach the very bottom of the game box, you're going to notice a number of trays. These are different rooms you'll be building out as you go through your adventure in the campaign. You're also going to notice inside of these trays there are other tiles, and they're going to be double-sided. So there's different artwork on either side of them, plus artwork on the actual room itself, so things can change up over time. And these are going to come in varying different sizes, as well as different styles of artwork as you go along. You'll also see, of course, the familiar sand side of the equation, of course, leading up to where you're headed, but you've got very interesting rooms throughout. I'm just going to show you each of these major 4, and you'll see the trays starting to change as we go through. The final one over here for these smaller trays. Then we get to ones that are a little bit larger, double-sized. That one's really unique and cool looking. The final one here at the very bottom. Now there were 2 inside of this one. I'll bring those back into shot as well. These are for a full size of 4 different squares. That would be these two right here, and they are also double-sided with different artwork on either side. Very cool looking indeed. And that's going to do it to the very bottom of the box. And that, my friends, is going to wrap up this game unboxing video for Arkeis. I'm really excited to dig into this one further. It looks very unique and interesting. I don't have anything like it theme-wise in my collection currently in terms of an adventure dungeon crawler board game. Really excited to see what this thing has to offer, being that it's on the lower side of complexity than what you'd expect from a typical adventure game, which can be a plus because it means you can dig right into the fun of the game itself that much faster without a heavy rule set. Now, you haven't seen absolutely everything this game has to offer inside this box, of course, because as you remember, those episode boxes all stayed sealed up. I didn't show you anything inside of them. And as you progress through the campaign and start opening each of those boxes, they're going to give you more of the game components found inside this to bolster different decks, give you new things you can do that you couldn't do before, whether it's upgrades, and just enhance the campaign as you go along. So a lot of that has to stay in those boxes to avoid spoilers, but I'd like to know from those of you that have received the game already in the comments down below. Let us know your thoughts on this one. Are you enjoying it? Have you already received it? We'd love to hear from you. Thanks again for watching, and as always, keep on rolling solo.